Thank you, AI. So my subject tonight is about the mental formations. Mental formation is a technical term in Buddhism. The word formation, as I explained in my email, is to describe everything which is made of other things. The Sanskrit term is samskara. So a flower, as I said, is a formation. Anger is also a formation, a mental formation, as Shayla described beautifully 2 weeks ago about how the seed of anger, when it is provoked or triggered, it went from the store consciousness and it sprung up into the mental, the mind consciousness. And she described a flower, which is the anger was booming to become a formation. And in this mind consciousness, the anger dictates us to say things, to act with our body, and also our thinking. And the consequences may sometimes, and most of the time, are harmful to others and also to us. And we use the word unwholesome or non-beneficial to describe such a mental formation. So, as it is a mental formation, it is a technical term. It is not very poetic. Like sometimes if my wife said something to me and I said, "Darling, be careful. You are triggering my mental formation." She wouldn't have a clue of what I am saying. So most of teachers, they prefer to use the word sentiment or activities of the mind. And tonight I will talk about mostly the 5 universal. But before going into that, let me go to the next slide. And I become an expert now. I made a movie. So you can see my movie now. Ta-da! So in the 12th century, a patriarch, a Vietnamese Zen master with the name Thường Chiếu, literally translated as always shining. And he said, if we know how our mind works, then our practice becomes easier. So that's why I put the sentence there to remind us that is not just simply learning theoretically, but to know how our mind functions, help us in our practice. So this one is the very famous one, used a lot by Thầy, and I just try to put it in my way rather than drawing a beautiful circle with several elements, 5 elements in it. I use the internet and I provide these 5 skandhas. And you can see that the feelings, they are so important. The feelings dictate how our life could be. Sometimes we have no feeling at all, and we are what we call in the neutral state. But sometimes we have feeling. It could be unpleasant or pleasant. The form here means body and flesh, bone and flesh. And if I have pain in my body, I have feeling. I went to the doctor and I said, I have pain here. It hurts me. Could you help me? So I touch here and I can feel the pain. And the doctor will use the, how you call it, stethoscope, will listen to my lungs, will listen to my heart, and will look at my throat, put a stick in my mouth, say, and but they cannot do better than that. They have to use the technology. So the doctor sent me to the hospital to have an X-ray of my lungs. And later on, when I came back to Canada, I got a CT scan of my lung. And they look at that. The first thing they said, which makes me happy, it doesn't seem that you have cancer in your lung. But still, we saw something here. You need to come to my office, the specialist in the lung. Respirologue. And but today, they told me that to have an appointment with some specialist, it can take up to 5 years. That is unbelievable. But I was lucky. I have an appointment in December. So I will tell you what they have found. But right now, I don't feel any pain. So the body sends you signal, which is transformed into feeling. Perception also can give you feeling. I used to tell about the story of the lady of Nam Sương. And this is a famous story in the Vietnamese history. Lady Nam Sương was married, and her husband, it was in the 17th century, was sent to the frontier in the north to do the battle with the invading from the north, the invaders. So in the old time, when you leave your family like that, it can take many years. And in his case, it was 3 years. So during that time, she gave birth to a young baby. 3 years later, he came back. That was joy. He was alive. They both hugged each other. And to our custom, our tradition, they will set up an altar like this one in front of the house, on which they will put offerings like flowers, fruit, and they will both bow down to the ancestors, showing the gratitude to the ancestors that allowed them to see each other back after 3 years. That were very joyful. So during the time when the wife went to the market to buy flowers and fruit, like we said in French, the petit bout, the 3 years old child came out of the house, and the man said, "Come here, come and see Papa, come." And the little 3 years old said, "You are not my Papa." That's quite something from a young little boy. Wow. So then everything rotating the brain of the man. My wife commits adultery. She was cheating me when I was away. And the young boy said, "My Papa came home only at night." So the man, with his perception now, was transformed into a block of ice. When the wife came back, she suddenly discovered a different man. The way how he was so cold in treating her, in ignoring her, she couldn't stand it. After a few days, she went to the river and threw herself into the river. So she died. And one evening, when the man was in bed with his son, he put the lamp on, and the lamp projected his shadow on the wall. And the young boy said, "That's my Papa. That's my Papa." So somehow during his absence, the wife taught the baby, when the baby asked her, "Where is my Papa?" "This is your Papa." She always showed her shadow and say, "That is your father." So you can see perception transform the man into a block of ice. So instead of saying nothing, he could have asked her or keep the communication open and said, "Why the little 3 years old told me that?" And she would explain, and that will resolve almost everything. So you can see perception can bring a very hard feeling and can transform a person. That kind of feeling is unpleasant feeling. I put some emoji on the right. So that's how feelings are important. Going to the next slide, we go into the sense impressions. This is the beginning of the 5 universal. When you have contact brings about attention. When I crossed the shopping center one day and I saw a beautiful winter coat, it caught my attention. Contact of my eyes with the winter coat. I had a good feeling. I would try that. Put it on. I feel warm. And a perception arise in me. Wow, if I could have this winter coat, I would be very happy during this winter. But as a good practitioner, I thought of the 5 mindfulness training. So I said, no, I wouldn't buy that. I have too many winter coats at home. No, Vin, go home, Vin. Okay, Vin went home. 2 weeks later, I went through the same shopping center. I saw the winter coat, and the 5 mindfulness training just disappeared. I bought it. Ta-da! That is volitional action. Very, very happening to me. So the base, the sense organs are in touch with its object. Always create an element of consciousness in your mind. Go up to the next one. This one is a wonderful one, already explained so well by Sheila. You remember the drawing she put with the flower blossoming from the store consciousness to the mind consciousness, a formation. And she mentioned a bit about the defiled consciousness, manas, but she didn't give us a complete description yet, maybe one day. But I found something that I will simply read it to you, which describes quite well the 7 mindfulness, the 7 consciousness, defiled consciousness, manas. Manas always follows the store consciousness like our shadow follows the movement of our body. In this way, manas is blind, blindly following whatever seeds it latches onto in the store consciousness. Just grasping, whether they are wholesome or unwholesome. But the unwholesome always contains within itself the potentiality of the wholesome, because according to the teaching of interbeing, just as the flower can be seen in the garbage, and the garbage can be seen also in the flower. That is why transformation and awakening are possible. When manas is awakened, when it has been transformed, it has the wonderful function called the understanding of equality, which means the ability to see the one in the all and the all in the one. So Thầy always mention manas as a survival instinct. Let's say you are in the middle of the road and a truck is coming. So you don't just stay there and say, breathing in, I know that the truck is coming. Breathing out, I will die if the truck hit me, right? So your manas, which is absolutely your ego, your survival instinct, will push you to go on one side or the other to avoid the truck. So it's very useful, but it also is an obstacle in our practice. So whenever we are in any situation of great danger, manas works hard persuading us to run or to do whatever it is necessary to save our life. But because manas is blind, because its nature is obscured by definition, it can often take us to the wrong direction. So we have to be careful. Chum. Oh no, that's the volcano. So we don't know, eh? So human beings also act like this. We want to punish someone, so we destroy ourselves in order to make the other person suffer. Sometimes we can do that. So manas is the force behind this kind of thinking, because it is completely clinging to the notion of a self. It's our ego. So when manas is too strong, we become, how we say, like egocentric, narcissistic. That's the term describing how when our ego is too big. So that gives you the taste of 8 consciousness. And the next one would be the 5 universal. And I do the movie now. Ta-da! Contact, bring forth attention, feeling, perception, leading eventually to volition. They all work together. They are not working alone. They are universal because they operate in all the 8 consciousness. They are everywhere. And one always brings the other. The 5 are associated, inter-are. So when contact happens and attention arises, we have to practice mindfulness very, very intense in order to make sure that the attention will not pull us into a not too good direction. First slow dance when I was a student. And the lady put her cheek close to my cheek. Wow! What a wonderful feeling. So I have to pay attention to my manaskara. I have to practice so that it becomes yoniso manaskara. Be careful when your feeling can drive you to a direction in your life which could be not good, I don't know. And the feeling, the note I took several years ago during Thai talk, and I'm so happy that I find it again here in my notebook, that I would like to read it to you, very short. When a feeling arises with our practice, we should be able to identify it and simply recognize it, what is there, and whether it is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So our mindfulness is like a mother. We don't fight. We say hello to our feeling. Then the next time that feeling arises, we will be able to greet it even more calmly. We all have difficult emotions in our life. But if we allow them to dominate us, we will become depleted. When our feelings are stronger than our mindfulness, we could suffer. But if we practice conscious breathing day after day, mindfulness will become a habit. So Thầy said, don't wait to begin to practice until you are overwhelmed by a feeling. It may be too late. And this is what I added. This is why we need a Sangha to maintain our practice. So please come again next week. So the next one will be, and now this is my movie. Ta-da! Oh, come on, Lynn. So I thank you all with a deep bow to your presence and your listening. And I am bowing out with the sound of the bell.